Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to my humble abode. As you can see, we've had some upgrades, big changes, much more on the way. No, but actually what happened was, here, I'll show you. So, I have this freaking, okay, hold on. This is the chair that I was using. It might look harmless enough to the average viewer. However, funny story. So, I went out to New Hampshire this past summer. I did some, I did summer sales out there, and really cool experience. Would not do it again just because financially it doesn't make too much sense for me. I was terrible at it. I suck at sales. Who'd have thought, you know? But yeah, terrible financial choice. Really good life decision though. Learned a ton. Definitely feel a lot more confident, like as a person, being able to talk with people, although it still is like frightening. But I am able to do it now, and I wasn't really sure of myself back then, but now I am. So that was really cool. Reason I bring that up is because of the chair. So as I was driving out with a few of my buddies, we stopped in Erie, Pennsylvania, and while we were there, spent the night, and get up in the morning and my car won't start, like dead. Well, not dead, because if I remember correctly, some of the lights were still on. Like it would light up a little bit, it would turn over just a little bit and then die. So I knew it was the battery. I was like, oh, I hope it's the battery, not the alternator, you know. Thankfully, it was the battery. I got to New Hampshire. One of the first things I did was swap the battery. So I took the old battery out of my car, put the new one in, and I was so stupid because I never got rid of the battery like you're supposed to. So I just like left it in my trunk, and as I'm driving around throwing stuff in there, throwing the scooter in there, Segways and things like that for myself and my buddies, it got knocked over a few times. And I still had not a bunch of stuff, but I still had some stuff from the road trip, like this chair. So evidently, what ended up happening, as I'm sure you could imagine, the acid from the battery actually spilled out and like covered my trunk, and it turned to towel to mush. Like anything that was organic, gone, destroyed everything. But I thought that the chair was okay because, I mean, it looks fine. However, I mean, if you take a look at it, you can see some discoloration, you know, which I didn't think too much of, unfortunately. And when I was recording the last couple of videos, I think I wore the same pair of pants for both videos. I don't know how that worked out. But I wore the same pair of pants for both videos. And I got up on Monday to go to one of my classes, and I put the same pair of pants on. And went all the way up to campus, came back down because I didn't remember that class was canceled like you did. But hold on. Anyways, class was canceled. Went up with the pants, came back down. My wife looks at me and she goes, "Well, I was telling her that I was gonna go back up campus and keep wearing the same pair of pants." And she was like, "I feel like you should change." I was like, "Why?" She's like, just kind of, there's like a huge stain on your butt. So I look at it, and these pants were green, right? But my butt was completely like pink. So it had been, and I was like, what is going on? And on top of that, all of the pink areas started to like disintegrate, essentially. So the material just turned to dust, and you could just tear it up, like you could just pick it apart with your fingers. It was insane. So one of my favorite pairs of pants ruined. Another pair of pants that I have, actually I can show you. I have these another favorite pair of my pants, these brown ones. Here. I'll kind of come out to the camera and show you a little bit what was going on. So these actually turned green a little bit before we threw them in the wash to like get the acid out. So it's not as green as it was, but let me show you what happened. Like, it's crazy. So you can see that like it's got, and you can just pull it apart, and it looks like I shredded it, you know, but, and you can see like the lines, and everywhere that it has made a line, it's torn the fabric to pieces. Everywhere that there's like, everywhere it touched the fabric, it turned to dust. So, yeah, everywhere that it touched the fabric, it like turned to dust. So, debating on whether or not I'm gonna keep those, not sure. But yeah, culprit is the chair, so had to get a new one. So went to the thrift store, got this puppy for $5. Not as comfortable, but not gonna destroy my pants, hopefully. So yeah, this week was pretty sweet. Other than that, I got this microphone. That was pretty dope. Got a new camera, this boy here. I'm actually super happy with it. It's not technically mine. It's my uncle's. He's letting me use it, but the A7R3 serious upgrade from that guy, the A5000. But the A5000 is using a cool lens that came with the A7. So really cool stuff. Super excited to kind of show you what I've been up to. One of my friend's concerts down a little bit to the south of here. Got to watch him play bass for a band that he kind of shows with every now and then. Really, really cool. Brought the camera, got to take some pictures of him. And then after that, I've been going around town, reaching out to like local businesses, trying to get them to hire me, basically. So some of that marketing, sales stuff from New Hampshire hopefully is kicking in. We'll see. But really happy about that. I think it's a really good way to kind of build a portfolio. And I think I have the end goal of shooting for a big company, a company like Porsche or Toyota, Honda, maybe even one of the luxury car brands, supercars, Lamborghini, Ferrari. You know, I know some guys shoot regularly for Bugatti and other companies like that, and I think that would be so cool. I don't know if I would be able. I don't know, because I really want to try and do that at least once in my life. I think that would be such an awesome experience. I mean, I love cars, love bikes, so that would be like a dream come true for me. So reaching out to businesses to try and establish that side of my business right now. But on the other hand, a few days this week, I just kind of go around town, take pictures of cool cars and bikes that I see. Sometimes not even really cool stuff, like nothing special, but just practicing those angles, figuring out what looks better on what types of cars. Obviously things like that I learned this week. It's obviously like shooting top down on the hood of an SUV is kind of tricky. You know, you got to be tall, or you got to be on an elevated platform to really get that angle that you would otherwise get on a sedan or a coupe, anything that's low to the ground, you know. So got to have fun with that. But I think the highlight of my week was being able to, as I was riding around, I ran into this kid named Josh, and him and his buddy were waiting for another guy to show up, because his buddy was planning on buying a new bike, but they were fixing to leave like right as I got there. But Josh was kind enough to let me shoot some shots of his R9, or no, his MT-09, I'm sorry, and himself as well. So that's kind of what we're going to be going over, just a few of my favorites. I'll see if I can kind of show you what I'm talking about here. So yeah, this first one of the wheel, I always love shooting the wheels. It's always nice to have a bike with a nice set of brakes. I think one of the cool things about this as well is you can see the pipes, how they change the color. I don't have a ton of really high power editing software, but there are some things that I do. Like I'll kind of show you actually. So something that I like to do with photos like these is obviously, first of all, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the brightness and we're gonna kind of turn it up just a little bit, you know? So we got the brightness here. Some of the things you can play with, obviously, brilliance I think is something, kind of move it up a little bit, move it down. You can do this as you like. This one, I'll kind of tell you what the angle is and then I'll show you how to get there. So what I'm trying to go for is more of a neutral look. The bike is black, the silver and black makes it pretty monotone. And I want that to be, but I want the bike to be the focus. So color in the background can kind of be distracting, at least in my opinion. So I try and get rid of that as much as I can. So first of all, you want to try and bring the bike out naturally, just playing with the light settings, try and making it pop in comparison to the background. Obviously not too much. You don't want it to look like it's been toyed with like crazy. But you do want it to pop, obviously. The bike is the star, so make the bike the star. However you need to do that, just do that. But make sure that you know what the star of the photo is, and make sure that whoever looks at the picture has no question about what it is either. So what I'm gonna do, like I was saying, just kind of bring up the general light a little bit, and I'm kind of satisfied. I don't need to toy with all these options right now. Color, like I was saying, I kind of want to tone it down, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hold off on color, and I'm gonna drop down to, you can either go to selective color or curves. Let me just double check on curves, see where we're at. See, like that I think is a little bit too bright, too dark, although it does have an interesting look by itself just because it kind of looks like I don't know, it's like a Batman-esque sort of thing. I think I want to bring it up just a tad. Yeah. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take selective color. So obviously the main colors on the bike, you've got black, kind of grayscale. And then other than that, you've got the copper or the copper-esque look on the pipes. And that's something I think we want to keep. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and avoid desaturating things like red and yellow. But what I will do is I'm going to drop green. So what is that going to do? If you look at the trees back here, they just kind of fade into the background. So now they're like, it's so interesting how once you do that, they almost don't even, your eye as you're looking at the center of the wheel, it almost doesn't even register that there are trees there. Whereas if I were to leave it, you can see them, you know? So me personally, I like to tone that down. It almost looks grayscale, so I like that. What I'm going to do as well is I'm going to tone down the blues just as a personal preference. If you were to leave the blues as they are, I think it would look fine. But again, to each their own. Next thing I'm going to play with is, yeah, kind of the magenta. I'm going to tone that down. The only thing that you can really see is over here. So let's turn it up, turn it down, turn it up, turn it down, turn it down. There you go. You can kind of see when it's fully saturated, you get a little bit of purple here and here, just a little bit of fade into the yellow. Me personally, I want to tone that. I want to turn that all the way down so that way it kind of looks a little bit more uniform. Last thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to double check what the reds and the yellows look like, because I don't really love how the wall here in the back is still visible. So I'm going to try my best to turn that down, but I do want to save the color on the pipes, so we'll see. So let's say we turn the red down. Does that get rid of the red wall? Yeah, but it also gets rid of everything on the bike, so it loses a little bit of its personality, and I don't really want that. Let's see what happens when we do the yellow. Yellow's kind of the same. So maybe what we do, something I try and do, maybe play with the yellows a little bit, turn them all red. Maybe if you turn them green, if that does anything. Yeah, no. Yeah. You know what? I think we're just gonna leave. Well, hold on here. Let's see if we turn the luminance up. That has a similar effect. Okay. See if we turn the luminance up. Turn the luminance up on. No. You know, I think we're just gonna leave it. I think we're gonna leave the yellows and the reds. Maybe what we could do, and if y'all have better ideas on how to do this in iPhoto, I'd love to hear how you guys would get rid of the red in the back, because I'm kind of dumb, so I don't really know how to do that. One thing I will do, I'm gonna do a little bit of a retouch. I'm gonna zoom in. Obviously you got this here. I'm gonna take it and just blotch these red spots out. No, that one stunk. Let's try it one more time. So, killer. That's nearly gone. What if we do this? What if we do this, guys? Let's take it. Try that. Ooh, that looked terrible. Negative. We are going to get rid of this one. Bump it up just a little bit. Bam. Okay. Now, I'm pretty satisfied with this one, to be honest. So, I'll probably just leave it as is. You know? You got the original photo, then the edited. Original, edited. So you can see how it really makes the bike kind of stand out in comparison to everything else. Oh, there we go. So there's the original, sorry. And there's the other one. Y'all have to give me your opinions on if you like it or not, if you think that maybe I should leave it stock, or if you like the edits, let me know. This one I'm not a huge fan of. I think it's a little bit a little bit too blown out. I love the MT-09, it's cool looking, it's a fantastic bike, but I think the headlight is a little bit funky, so this one's kind of weird. Next, not happy with this one, focus is off for me, and you lose the Yamaha logo with the glare, so it's just kind of a waste. This one I do love. So here I did the same sort of wizardry, more or less, and actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here and I am going to get rid of this stuff, you know? See if I can do it. Boop. Boop. And last but not least, that one. Okay, and this one. See what it does? Cool. This one up here I'm not a huge fan of. We'll leave it though. So one thing I do like about this photo is that the Akrapovic, I don't know how you pronounce this. Is it Akrapovic, or is it Akrapovic, or is it Akrapovic, or is it Akrapovic? I have no idea. Someone tell me how to say this. But I do like how the red stands out. I wish that I had an actual software dedicated to making certain colors stand out and leaving others out, because there's a little bit of a red tint on the wheel and the brake, which kind of ruins the magic, which is a shame. But other than that, really like this photo. You're looking at exactly what I feel like the viewer is looking exactly where I want them to, and then as their eyes are drawn there, they kind of see obviously the rest of the bike, and they kind of get to appreciate the quality of the engineering and just the design and things like that. So I love it. This one looks terrible, but once you actually look at the file, because it's massive, I think this one looks okay. It's a little bit, no, it's okay. It's not bad. It's not bad. I'm really disappointed with this one just because the Yamaha's not in focus. This looks pretty okay. So this is Josh here. I like taking more kind of candid photos with, especially with bikers and their bikes, just because, I don't know, I feel like most people think that bikers are kind of cool, like cool people. So just getting to see them in their natural environment is kind of fun. So I love his balaclava too. Yeah, and I think he said that this one of these two were his favorite shot. So I thought that was really cool. This is one of my favorites. I kind of did the same sort of editing stuff where he stands out a little bit more. Only thing I'm not happy about is the red on the taillights. But then again, that's just weakness that I have because I don't have as powerful of software as I would like. So I'm working on it, getting there, trying to improve. But yeah, just a super cool dude. I think these photos are a little bit funny just because, I don't know. It's like, I don't know what I was thinking when I was shooting him. I was like, he's a little, I don't know, he's a little bit too uptight, I feel like, on a motorcycle. Not him as a person. Like, not him, but the way that I photographed him makes it look like he's really uptight on the bike. I just think it looks funny. Not my favorites, but they're pretty, they're all right. The moving shots were tough. This one's not horrible. That one's not great. This one's one of my favorites. How can you not love it? Tried to get him while doing a wheelie. I wish this was a little bit crisper. I need to practice my panning shot, but I think it's so sick. In front of the church, it's awesome. This is a little bit better. Not as uptight. Hold on. But yeah, this one's cool. I don't know. These are just photos that I got with Josh. These are kind of a similar vibe, but just with the edits, so you can kind of judge for yourself. You can pick which ones you like more. I was really trying to emphasize him and the bike being the kind of the color, the splash, even though they're black and white. You know, he's not wearing anything super colorful. The bike isn't super vibrant, but the blue compared with the red and the green, I think it worked pretty good, pretty well. I mean, there you can kind of tell. Obviously, it's a little bit more vibrant, whereas this is a little bit more kind of focused and intense, I think. Just good shots of the bike. Really pretty thing. Yeah, awesome. This one's really cool, just with the singular color. The same process that I showed y'all earlier, but just because that was practically the only red thing in frame, it made it jump so well. Just some kind of detail shots on the bike as well, highlighting the logo and things like that. Just good stuff. So that was his bike. The other thing I did was my car. You know, there's myself. Little grocery run, you know, super chill. Trying to use a prime lens instead of an adjustable one. I forget how you say that. Prime versus, I don't even know. I failed. Sorry about that. Trying to adjust to a prime lens, kind of zoom in with my feet instead of a zoom lens. Trying to zoom with my feet instead of zooming with the lens. That's what I'm trying to say. Car's terribly dirty, but what are you gonna do? Just cool. Practicing every now and then. It's always good to keep it up. But yeah, appreciate y'all dropping in. I will have more photos of different stuff next week. Hopefully I get something as cool as the Yamaha. We'll see. But really appreciate y'all for jumping on. I'll let you know any updates when it comes to, like, if I get a contract with the business, how things are going, how I'm managing my stuff. Obviously there's not a lot to manage right now because I'm poor. I'm working on it, okay? I'm working on it. Hopefully I'll have a little bit of a more relaxed setup next week. We'll see how it goes. I'll keep you up to date on if I land any contracts or anything like that. Yeah, thanks so much. Take care of yourself. Don't have too much fun. Ciao.